we fit at in the nation's best dog.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you're bringing your children, but you're bringing your dogs instead.
I should bring all my children, too.
All right, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, all three of my dogs.
Yeah, I wasn't that far off. Is that you don't bring your dogs to the dog show?
No, you don't get to bring them, no.
Okay. No, I'm back on track.
Just like a walk-in? Like, hey, I got a poodle that I think can win this thing.
I'll bring my dogs to watch the dog show.
The Baker Mayfield of dogs comes on and
a walk-on? Oh, yeah, okay.
Brian Westbrook is joining us now. Brian, it's time for us to go viral. Check this out. This is Mikhail McKay helping lead the New York Guardians to a 23-3 win over the Tampa Bay Vipers yesterday in the XFL. And check out a certain fan and how he celebrated by emphatically eating a slice of cheese.
There you go.
I knew this was going to make the show. I don't understand why this was such a viral sensation. First of all, he snatched that cheese out of somebody's hand.
Could have easily eaten plastic.
Second of all, I mean, listen, sliced pre-made American cheese is a great American delicacy. We all know that. But still, it's just an odd way to celebrate.
Look at that face, man. That's how you do it, though. I mean, if you're going to celebrate the XFL, that's what you have to do.
I feel like that makes more sense to celebrate a Packers touchdown.
Yes.
Like cheese heads. Like, I don't get the correlation.
I think it depends on what the food product was. He was going to grab it from whoever was
next to him. Yeah, but who went to the game
with cheese?
Just like a single slice of Kraft American. I might get hungry later. Let me just
next, he opens up a little pack of ketchup.
He walks in, they do the stadium pat down. He's like, oh,
yep.
he doesn't feel my cheese. I'm smuggling cheese in here. I totally get it.
It is time for stories to start your morning. After a very public courting, Darren Collison will not, in fact, be joining the Lakers and has decided to remain retired. Now the Lakers, who stayed put at the trade deadline, remember, reportedly turned their attention to recently waived Dion Waiters. All right, Nick, should the Lakers sign Waiters? But I'm judging by the grunt, the answer might be yes.
I mean, I'd give him a shot, sure. But if you're relying on Dion Waiters, you're almost assuredly going to be disappointed. When it comes to NBA guys, once you've been in the league a few years, you typically are what you are. And Dion Waiters is, I feel, similarly to Andrew Wiggins, except he's not on a max contract. We know what he is. He's a high-usage, high-volume, inefficient scorer who has maturity issues. For Waiters, it's significant maturity issues. Now, with all that said, I'd still rather him get minutes than Rondo, but I think there might be better options available, especially if maybe Reggie Jackson gets bought out.
The Lakers needed three things. They needed a three type of man that can guard the wings, things like that. They needed a three-point shooter and a playmaker. I think Waiters can give them some three-point shooting and playmaking. He's not so much going to guard there. You talk about the immaturity just a little bit. I think that you put him with LeBron, Anthony Davis, you put him on a better team, and I think that he kind of falls in lines and help this team in some way. Is he the answer? Absolutely not for the Lakers, though.
He briefly played with LeBron when LeBron came back to Cleveland. They shipped him away.
Last night,
down to OKC.
Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons led Philly to a 118-111 win over Chicago. The Sixers have won back-to-back games now after losing their previous four. Brian, you think this team, the one you're watching now, can contend with the Bucks?
Is your team now B?
No. You know, I just don't think they have the firepower to contend with the Bucks. I also think that they haven't been consistent enough home and on the road to say that they're going to contend for the championship in the Eastern Conference. When I look at this team, I'm saying you have older players at this point. Ben Simmons has been in the league for a long time. So has Joel Embiid. I want some consistency throughout the league. I'm talking about home and on the road. They haven't had that. Joel Embiid has to have energy every single night. He doesn't bring it every night, and that's going to be a big problem for them.
I do not think they can contend with the Bucks. I don't think any one of these can contend with the Bucks. But here's what's so disappointing for Philly. This Philly team was built specifically with Giannis and the Bucks in mind. The reason you bring in Horford after letting Butler go to Miami after losing J.J. Redick is because you think we need big size to meet Giannis at the rim. The way they're playing right now, though, they might not even get to play the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals because they might not be there. If they do not immediately flip a switch that I don't think they have, massive changes coming in Philly after a massive disappointment of the season.
They need better three-point shooting. They wanted to do bully ball, and I'm not sure that that's the answer in the Eastern Conference.
All right, let's talk some football now. On to the Dallas Cowboys. Among the juicier rumors swirling, how about this one? Dak Prescott being replaced by Tom Brady. It picked up some traction this weekend, but Stephen Jones quickly refuted it, saying his currently unsigned quarterback, Dak Prescott, is, quote, the guy that can help us win championships. Nick, what should the Cowboys do with Dak Prescott?
All right, so I find this really fascinating, this conversation. And I thought the Brady rumor was great because it's something we joked about months ago.
Brady replacing Dak.
I feel like if Tom Brady signed with the Dallas Cowboys, we'd rename the show. First things first with the Dallas Cowboys. They'd occasionally talk about LeBron, and it would just be wall-to-wall. We had Brady on the Cowboys. I was like, man, my job just got so easy. But I don't think it's likely, but you understand how they could thread the needle if Dak were to move on. So what should the Cowboys do? Assuming that Dak has not drastically changed what his contract demands appear to have been for the last year, which is top of the market money, I think their only option is to franchise tag him. But that then does bring into play another option, which is if you franchise tag him, I would be very interested if I'm Dallas talking around the league. What is the trade value of Dak Prescott? I saw Frank Clark, who's a good player. He's not one of the 5 best pass rushers in football. He's a good player, and he made some great plays for my Chiefs this postseason. He got franchise tagged. He went for a 1 and a 2, a first and a second-round pick for Frank Clark, traded under the franchise tag. D Ford, who was traded under the franchise tag, went for a second-round pick. Laramie Tunsil just went, not under the franchise tag, but he just went for 2 number 1s and something. The reason I bring it up is, what could the Cowboys get for Dak Prescott? If they were to believe we can sign Tom Brady short term, we can sign Tom Brady, give him the offensive line he wants, the running game he wants, a number 1 receiver, have the money because...
And figure the quarterback out later.
Figure the quarterback post-Brady out later. Could the Cowboys get 2 1s and something for Dak Prescott? Would the Los Angeles Chargers, who are trying to sell tickets, who don't have a quarterback, who have the 6th pick of the draft, would they give you the number 6 overall pick and their first rounder next year and maybe something else for the opportunity to stabilize their quarterback position and say, screw it, we'll pay him all the money he wants? If I were Dallas, I would at least want to know, because I would certainly rather have a whole bunch of draft picks and a whole bunch of cap space than pay Dak $37 million a year. Now, if Dak's contract demands have dropped significantly, it changes things. But if I franchise tag Dak, I'm asking around the league as quietly as I can, what is his value to you? What would you give me for him?
There's a reason why teams normally don't allow their quarterback to get in this position. Not just because of the money, but because he's the face of your franchise. He's the guy that's going to hold things together. He is the guy that's going to deliver the message to the team, to the public, everything else. And the Cowboys, if they think that Dak is a guy that's going to bring them championships in the future, they should have never allowed this to happen. Dak is coming off his best season as a pro. 4,900 yards, passing, 30 touchdowns, only 11 interceptions. He has been impressive. You know, when you talk about the guys that you compare him to, Jared Goff as well as Carson Wentz, both of those guys got paid with 2 years left on their contract. And I have to believe that this contract for the Cowboys doesn't necessarily come down to average per year. It's not $35 million or $36 million per year. I don't think it comes down to that. I think it comes down to guaranteed money, the little small fine print, the incentives, those types of things. And once they figure that out, this gets done. To me, this is a no-brainer. You don't want 43-year-old Tom Brady. You want a young Dak Prescott and allow this team to build with him.
But still, 2 off seasons ago, we all sat here and we're like, well, Dak Prescott will be signed before Saturday. He'll be signed before the first game of the season. No problem. He went from being their franchise, their guy, the rock and the foundation of the Dallas Cowboys, and now here we are talking about possibly, I know there's just rumors, but maybe Dak leaves the Cowboys. I mean, this was Jerry Jones's guy. How did we get to this point?
Well, I think at some point, a negotiation, and you see this happen in the media business sometimes, you see this happen in the business world sometimes, which is 2 parties that ostensibly need each other and want to be together just have very, very different opinions on the value, and it causes a separation. There are, I think back to, Howard Stern when he left to go to satellite radio. Man, terrestrial radio didn't want to lose him. He just thought, hey, I'm worth, what, 80 million, 100 million a year? And they said, we need you, we love you, we want you, but we can't pay you that. And he found someone who could. It wasn't because they hated each other, at least, and maybe I have the Stern history slightly wrong, but
sure,
the general story I think people understand, which is sometimes people just, I am worth X. And the person trying to pay you said, man, you're worth X minus 10. and you can't meet in the middle, that's the only reason the Cowboys and Dak haven't yet come to an agreement. But you would be comfortable paying Dak, maybe not highest paid in the league, but make him one of the 4 or 5 highest paid quarterbacks in football?
Well, I think it comes down to guarantees, and so I put him at 35, between 35 and 40 million a year, right? And obviously he's not going to get 40. That's Patrick Mahomes' money. So he's not going to get 40. But let's say he's 35. Let's say that's the number, and you get him his guarantees. Carson Wentz got $66.5 million at signing, 107 guaranteed, right? Jared Goff, 55, 56 million or so at signing, and then 110 guaranteed. So if you're Dak, you're saying, I want to have that ability to be in that range. That's the type of numbers.
120 million guaranteed.
That has to be the numbers that you want to work with.
Think about how much extra comes with being the Dallas Cowboys quarterback. That's not from what the Cowboys are paying you that you may not get if you go somewhere else.
Well,
you never know.
That's incentive.
You're as marketable as they come.
If I'm Jerry Jones, this thing is simple. I don't want the outside noise. I just want to set my team and be ready to play football. And in order to do that, you certainly need the quarterback to be able to sign.
If I'm Dallas, I am curious. Am I better off with a couple extra first-round picks from, let's say, Los Angeles Chargers, and Teddy Bridgewater at $15 million a year with 2 extra first-round picks and an extra $20 million a year to play with, or Dak Prescott? I think that's a real conversation you have to have if it gets to the point of franchise tagging him, and you do. To me, those are questions I would be asking.
If you're talking about a defensive-wise, a defense that gave up, that was 25th in takeaways, those first-round picks, getting those extra things and having more money, that makes more sense.
It's an interesting question. It doesn't even have to involve Brady for it to be an interesting question.
All right, speaking of Brady and the Patriots, many have speculated